introduction, these are the main four questions that we'll be addressing today. How many powers are there in the universe? Should I know my enemy and why? What is the satanic spin and how does it work? And then finally, what are the best ways to deflect Satan's attacks? Elder Ballard, in a regional conference here in 2016 that I attended, said that there were only two powers in the entire universe. These are some examples of how we can classify those two powers: God versus Satan, spiritual versus temporal.
Be grateful for the simplicity of this. It is not uncommon for me to have clients who are running around in circles trying to find the origin of things, like, is this my subconscious? Is it because of my parent? And so the simplicity of this is comforting. You have a pretty simple process to go, okay, if it's from God, this is what we do with it. If it's from Satan, this is what we do with it.
Should I know the enemy? A study of Satan's methods can alert us to his seduction. That was President Benson in 1971. 3 years later, President Trimble said it is important to have an awareness of the existence, the power, and the plans of Satan. And then in 1990, Elder Ballard said, the devil is a dirty fighter, and we must be aware of his tactics. I thought this was interesting. This is from Andrew Romney. Now, I am not calling attention to these things to frighten, stampede, or discourage anyone, meaning talking about the devil. I refer to them because I know they are true, and I am persuaded that if we are to conquer Satan and escape the hands of the servants of Satan that do uphold his work, we must understand and recognize the situation as it is. And then he says this is no time for Latter-day Saints to equivocate.
I especially appreciate the attitude of, we don't study this to become scared. We don't study this to get worried. We study this so that we can have confidence and move forward with that confidence, so we don't feel fear based on the unknown. I feel a lot of peace knowing what's going on, the difference between Satan and God, so that I don't have a lot of internal chaos. I was comforted that someone as Neanderthal as myself could actually figure it out just by studying it. When people say, I don't think I can figure this out, well, if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. It just takes time to just keep looking. I love watching the most advanced professional sports because every play you're reminded that your opponent is skilled and you have to retreat and regroup again. And there isn't a turnkey operation for winning every play with a football. We see that in basketball, it takes 7 games to figure out who the champion is, and the winner loses 3 of those games. And I go, okay, so it's not really that big of a surprise if I'm on the edge of losing a psychological battle with a 7,000-year-old genius on a regular basis. And the idea that we can get to a turnkey operation where we win every time, probably not going to happen. Maintain your sports psychology when you're fighting against Satan, so you don't feel like a loser just because you lose 1 out of 20 times.
How do I detect the thoughts and feeling? How do we know where they're coming from? What I do is when I get a thought or a feeling, I try and assign that thought or feeling a source. Now, we learned earlier there's only 2 sources, so it's not that hard. Just ask myself, where are these thoughts and feelings coming from? And I can usually get it right on that first question, but some of them are a little bit harder. Then I will ask a follow-up question, and usually by this, I can tell. How do they make me feel? If it makes me feel low, it degrades me, it puts me down, then I know it's from the adversary. But if it lifts me, it fills me with hope, it gives me excitement, energy, then I know it came from the Spirit.
If you only are familiar with the idea of this, it won't help you with your in the moment detection. The discernment activity that reminds me of sitting at a piano and playing an A and a B back and forth until your brain starts to feel the difference between them. Like, okay, that's what an A sounds like, this is what a B sounds like. And you have to keep going back and forth between the two to feel an awareness of them so that you can feel it inside of you. Now, women may not need to do this as much as the traditional man. When I first started doing this, my awareness of my feelings was pretty non-existent. I really had to keep hitting the tuning fork. What does it feel like when the Holy Ghost is talking to me? What does it feel like when Satan's talking to me? And back and forth and just kind of hit the A, hit the B, and keep listening to the difference in a little ritual. So I found you keep finding words, and my vocabulary expanded over time. So I had 3 words to describe the Spirit and 3 words to describe Satan at first, but then expanded to 10 words, 12 words, 16 words to describe the Spirit, and a longer list to describe Satan. So now it's easy to catch him faster. And Steve, this is a really good tool to use in the presence of your wife. I can tell the Spirit is present when I feel this in the presence of my wife, and I can tell Satan's messing with me if I feel this in the presence of my wife. If I feel pulled back, that's a little subtle one. If I am pulling away from my wife during a conversation, then I can tell Satan's present at a very early level, because if I study the deeper psychology in it, I am losing my ability to take her seriously. I'm losing my ability to stay engaged in her thoughts and feelings. And I need to go, hold on a second. I got to fix this. I either need a break because I've been drinking from the fire hose for too long, or I need to re-engage. So I've got a fire drill set up for myself depending on what the problem is.